and welcome to Divine Geekery, the show for fans of faith. And by faith I mean faith of any kind, be it Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Jedi, false follower, whatever. Faith of any kind, because I truly honestly believe we are in an end of days situation. And by that I don't mean we're heading towards a apocalyptic wailing and gnashing of teeth. I think we're heading towards a unification of humanity. For example, look at Jews and Christians. We've had a fractious relationship over the millennia. You guys were very upset about the crucifixion. We were a bit miffed about the Crusades. But now look at us. We are just two peoples in faith, both believing in an infinite, all-loving God and an eternal, enduring soul, and both increasingly under attack by a atheistic world that are very bothered by our choices in belief for reasons I honestly don't understand. Today we're talking about the HBO show The Leftovers, currently in its third and final season. Developed by David Lindelof and Tom Peretta. Tom Peretta wrote the book The Leftovers. David Lindelof then developed that along with Tom Peretta into the first season. Since then, season 2 and 3, it's become its own legitimate entity.
Sam?
Daddy! Where are you?
Sam?
The Leftovers is essentially about what happens if 2% of the world's population mysteriously vanishes one day, or as they call it, the sudden departure. Now, they're never going to explain what happened, which is one of the reasons I love the show, but it's heavily hinted it's a rapture-like event. 2% may seem an insignificant number, but it's 140 million people, and it significantly and completely changed the world. And that's really what drives the first season of the show, at the very least. The wake that this sudden departure has left on the lives of everybody around it. Many cults have sprung up in the wake of the sudden departure. The first season mainly deals with the guilty remnant, who all wear white, they chain smoke, and they don't speak. They only communicate with each other with written notes. And their raison d'etre is to remind the world what has happened. They believe the world has ended, and they want to remind everybody as painfully as possible about those they have lost. Starring Justin Theroux, Carrie Coon, and former Doctor Who, Christopher Eccleston, the entire cast deliver a fantastic nuance and completely authentic performance as a extended family of damaged people in the wake of this sudden departure. Also in the first season we have Patterson Joseph, who was hotly tipped to be the 11th Doctor Who before Matt Smith got the role. As a bit of side geekery, go and check out the 1990s Neverwhere starring Patterson Joseph, which is why I was so excited to see The Leftovers, because he's great in that. He plays a Marquis de Carabas as kind of a slightly more mellow Sixth Doctor, who would have been a great Sixth Doctor, by the way. Would have been a great 11th Doctor for that matter. Justin Theroux's Kevin Garvey is the central character of the show. As we meet him, he's the chief of police in a small town, trying to make sense of the insanity the world has slipped into, and quite possibly slipping into insanity himself. His family is fractured, with his wife a member of the guilty remnant, and his son, who knows where. Carrie Coon's Nora Durst is suffering the bereavement of her husband and her two sons vanishing in the sudden departure, and is now working for the government department of sudden departure, or as it's called, the DSD, in one of the show's many, many notes of utter realism. Her brother, Christopher Eccleston's Matt Jameson, is the character that I personally connect to the most. He's a minister suffering a major crisis of faith. As if this was indeed the rapture, he cannot understand why he's still here and wasn't taken up to heaven. Now, this is a shockingly honest and completely authentically played out piece of meta-realism that I can't believe even made it onto TV. Because if you are an atheist, and if you are, God bless, or whatever bless you, live and be well. I live however you want. It's of no concern of mine. I make no judgment on you or indeed anyone for the way they choose to live their life or what they want to believe in. But if you're an atheist, you just won't be able to get this point, because much of a person of faith's life is the confusion of a crisis of faith. And that's actually organic to having faith rather than contrary to it. Because if indeed there is a God, and what I believe to be true really is true, then having one's faith tested is an essential part of faith in of itself. Even though, parenthetically, I don't really think in this generation our faith is tested at all. It was Holocaust Memorial Day here in Israel a few days ago, and I met a survivor who had not only his whole family, but his whole town wiped out. And in the end, it was just him and one other guy from his neighborhood who would constantly deride him because he maintained his faith in the Almighty throughout the entire thing. And things went from bad to worse, if you can imagine such a thing. And the guy angrily mocked him and derided him for his faith the entire way through. And eventually he failed one of the selections and was sent to the gas chambers. And even then he maintained his faith. He didn't have faith that he would survive or that everything would be okay in the end, but he had faith that his conception of a loving, infinite God was real, despite everything around him telling him the opposite. Yeah, and then in the last minute, when he was actually in the gas chamber, in the last minute, there was a fault in the gas chamber, and the Germans opened the door and took a few people out to fix it, and he survived. And he said, these feet that stood in the gas chambers, these are the same feet standing in the land of Israel now. Now that's what having faith, or as we Jews call it, emunah, is. Yeah, you may agree or you may disagree with him, but that's what faith is, and that's what a reality of a crisis of faith looks like. In my experience, you can never really rely on having your faith vindicated or rewarded even in this world or this life. But you know what? A lot of the time it is anyway. So yeah, that's Christopher Eklund's character. As I said, one I relate to very well. Even if that's not your cup of tea, check out the show anyway. It is beautifully and expertly crafted. I really can't recommend it strongly enough. It's a bit of a slow burner. I'll warn you now. It takes you to like the 7th or 8th episode of a season before you start to get paid off for everything you put into it. But when you get the payoff, it's fantastic. And of course, it's got all the religious tropes of death and resurrection, just done in a way that you would never really expect or imagine. Okay, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and click one of these buttons below to whatever it is to subscribe. And definitely click the button below to check out my Kickstarter campaign for my new graphic novel, Biblical Bible Stories for Atheists, Creationists, Rationalists, and Rogues. It's fiercely biblically accurate and no polemics and no preaching whatsoever. Just a stonking great story. Go and check it out. Thanks so much.